Hey, it's Karrington. And, I'm glad to be back. I'm here with my main man, Kyle. Kyle, how are you?
That is me. I am happy to be back. I'm excited for this. That's what I can say is
Yes,
I've been
sir.
giddy over this for the last couple weeks.
Dude, when you hit me up and said, hey, you ready to start podcasting again? I was like, yes, let's go. Let's go.
It's weird because I had stopped doing it for a while. And it's ever since then I had just been like, man, I really want to get back into doing this. I enjoyed doing it, but it was too much at the time for me.
Yeah. And, with COVID and everything, it was a lot to deal with mentally, and to just keep that rhythm up for a while. It was just tough. It was rough. But having a small break, I've been having that itch for a while. And I was just wondering, I wonder if everyone else is into it or not. But when you hit me up, I said, yes, let's go. And when you said, can it just be the two of us? I said, even better, even though I love everybody else.
Right.
I love Cody. I love Jordan. I love Donovan. I love all those guys. No bad blood, no bad feelings. But when I said, I told them what was up. I was like, hey, RDP starting up again under a new name, and it's just going to be Kyle and I. Is that okay? And they were like, yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's I'm right there along the same feelings as you. Yeah, it's nice to have everyone. It definitely made for a colorful cast and great commentary, and I'm right there with you.
Absolutely. And so everyone that's here probably realizes that it's not Real Dudes Podcast or RDP anymore. We are now K&K Indie Gaming, so that's kind of a new name change. Same guys, same Real Dudes, but just under a new name. We think it's better for everybody, for us, and so hit us up on all the social medias. We're KK Indie Gaming, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the socials, including TikTok now. We're on TikTok now, so let's go.
Yeah.
And so, keep that in mind. I'll reiterate, it's KK Indie Gaming across everything. We want to make sure it's universal and as easy as possible. If you're already following us on all the platforms, don't worry. You're still following us. It's just the same guys, different name. And same great indie games to cover as well. Am I right?
Yes, 100%. And full disclosure, since I believe I've recorded last, I have developed another child, and
yes, you have.
You could possibly hear them on and off through this. So I don't really apologize in advance, but just fair warning: if you hear a kid, that is my kids rumbling and tumbling upstairs. So, but indie games to the max, and actually, video games in general. I'm excited to get back into this and sink my fingers and my hours into these games and play them, and hopefully chat with some developers in the future. And,
Absolutely.
See what's out there that a lot of people don't know about.
Absolutely. And speaking to developers, it's weird. We talked about starting this back up again. 2 creators hit me up in the meantime.
Wow.
So I already have 2 interviews set up for us. If you're available or not, that's all great. But they're guests I've had on in the past, so I'm excited to hit them up again because they both have new projects. Well, one's a new project. One was their project's now complete. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Yes. Very cool, man. We got a great show, I believe.
And we got a great show lined up today. The first game that we are covering for K&K Indie Games, Nobody Saves the World. Kyle, you hit me up. You found this game. How did you hear about it? How did you find out about it real quick?
I believe after we had went through our text messages and we're trying to figure out what we were going to do here, I went and looked up, well, what's the new games out right now that people may not have heard of? What are the indie games that, are trying to get out there? And I saw Nobody Saves the World. It had released a little earlier this year, but it was made by Drinkbox Studios, same people made Guacamelee, and I knew immediately that had to have been something definitely worth checking out. Definitely.
Absolutely. And the description reads, really quick transform from a featureless nobody. And by the way, they literally mean that, into a slug, a wrestler, and a dragon in this new take on action RPGs from the creator of Guacamelee. Discover 15 distinct forms, mix and match their abilities, clear evolving dungeons, and save the world. This game is available on all platforms, so you literally have zero excuse to miss out on it. And even better, if you have Xbox Game Pass, it's on Game Pass, so you can download it. You can stream it through cloud gaming. It's there, so you have zero excuse. If you're listening, zero excuse to not at least check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as I found I was on Game Pass, I was like, "Oh, this is worth getting." Although I personally, I played it on Switch. I don't know what you played it on, but
I played it on both just so I could get the feel of it. But most of my time was spent on Xbox.
Okay.
So, what did you think of it? Getting into it.
Yeah, I from the beginning, starting out in it, I loved it, and I believe that my love for the game carried through. Throughout my playing through it, it was you could kind of get an idea of what you were getting into when you watched the original trailer, when you read the description, but the hold on, my kid just fell.
I heard that. Yeah,
did you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. But playing through it, it was a lot more fun than what I expected. I definitely got old school Zelda vibes through it, just through the action and the fighting through it and the puzzle solving in it. I don't know if you had got the same thing. On top of that, I was afraid that there would be a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? It not replayability. Help me out here. When something just repeats itself over and over.
I know it's not monotony you're talking about, but I know what you're talking about.
I was afraid it was repetitive.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, I thought there was gonna be a lot of repetition throughout the game. There wasn't. And the way that they handled that, where it could have been a lot of repetition, was avoided because of the way that you could, as the description says, you could discover different forms. And because you could discover different forms, you had different abilities, and you could mix and match the abilities, which I thought really kept the game alive and made it very enjoyable and kept the fun factor up in it.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, because it is from the makers of Guacamelee, I wasn't too concerned about like the storyline or the humor because I know the writing was going to be there. But it going from like an action platformer to an RPG, that I was wondering how that was going to work out for them, and they nailed it on the head. And when you said Zelda vibes, I was like, yes, that's what I was thinking of, because I couldn't think of it, because the way Zelda does things, you know, you get powers or abilities or gadgets or whatever, and it opens up the world more. The puzzles get slightly harder each time, and you're able to revisit certain areas and get to areas you weren't able to before. And that's how this game is essentially set up. But I wouldn't say it's like, oh, this is like Zelda, because it's not. But it's just that kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Progression.
Right.
It's very similar, because there's one part, it's pretty early on. You can turn into a mouse. And you can get into all kinds of different things. And then I noticed a nest somewhere. I'm like, what's this nest for? And it took a while, but then I unlocked an egg form. And that's how you unlock the dragon.
You got that right from the mouse?
Yeah. It took a while. Okay. It took a while.
Okay.
To get the egg, though. The egg is... And then the egg itself, it takes a long time to get the dragon. So trust me. It's the dragons... it takes a lot to get there. But anyway... it's all set up very fine. I will say, I did think the game was really easy up until you started being able to mix and match the form's abilities. And then the difficulty skyrocketed. Like, that's when I started dying and having to actually strategize and plan on what I was going to do and how to take on enemies and such. And that was brilliant, I think, because having it start out hard right away, you know, as someone who has recently delved into something like Elden Ring, I was not ready to get my butt whooped every 2 seconds.
Yeah, and going back to the whole, I don't think it's spoiler territory. The mouse is the first form that you get,
and you get it within the first literal 5 minutes of starting up the game.
Yeah, and you know, the game is an action RPG, and I feel like with most action RPGs, your first encounters are with mice and rats. And with this game, your first encounter is as a mouse and as a rat. It's not like a huge detail, but whenever it happened, I thought, man, that's kind of funny because you're usually fighting or you're fighting slime or something.
Right,
but,
right.
It was funny how they turned you into the mouse to attack the enemy. Which along the lines with that, I feel like the writing in the game, hysterical.
Yes.
All of it's funny. Everybody is kind of like, I don't know if ditzy is a good word, but just kind of like goofy. And I got Monty Python vibes from it.
Yes.
Just kind of funny,
absolutely.
funny writing. Yeah, very much so. And a lot of the quests are funny, and I really appreciated that. And it kept the story going, kept the game going.
Yep.
Made me want to do side quests that I didn't really wouldn't have found interest in, but because of the writing and the reasoning for the side quests, it pushed me into doing them and wanting to complete them.
Yeah, the humor is very witty, but it's also pretty dry, which I think is hilarious. Because slight small spoiler, like there's this one side quest where you're part of the Thieves Guild, and then you have to plan a heist, and the guy goes, yeah, all you gotta do is just change forms and get this item from the shopkeeper. He's like, why is this like sneaky or conniving or heist? Because it's cheap as long as you're a human or something like that. So you can resell it for a higher price or something. So you just go into the store and change your form each time and do it like 4 times. And then you complete the quest. And I think it was hilarious, just the way it was set up. Like, I'm not doing that side quest justice on how entertaining it was.
Right.
But
I feel like a lot of the side quests were through the game.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Like, if I were to just sit here and describe like all the humor is in the game, me describing it doesn't do it justice at all, because the dialogue takes care of all of that, and it does a wonderful job.
Yeah, for sure. And the game itself, as far as keeping you interested in it, they could have just kept it to where each form had their own abilities. But no, once you mentioned, they mix and match the abilities further on into the game, it really opens up to a whole new way that you can play the game, whole new way of making the character that you love to play as a little different and either more challenging or easier depending on what you're dealing with. I had a favorite form. I don't know if you did. If it was something that you would like to. Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so I didn't realize. Okay, so at first it was the knight. I thought the knight was pretty OP. I'm like, oh man, the knight's really OP when I unlocked him. And then it got to one point where I just couldn't like move forward. I had to actually start changing forms again and all that stuff. And then I found the bodybuilder. Dude, he wrecks face. I love him.
Yeah. Both those characters are incredible. And yeah, I mean the knight felt OP from the beginning. The bodybuilder is such a great character. For me, I don't know if it's an oddball, but the slug.
I noticed when you were streaming, you were playing as the slug. I'm like,
the slug, just the fact that his ability to slow down enemies, especially when you have big groups of enemies, you can slow down the whole enemy and pelt them with your tears. He shoots his tears at them. I love that, and I thought it's so weird. You're shooting tears and killing enemies with it, but it's so funny, and that's just that just goes to tell you that the game itself is it's just goofy. It's fun, and it's very enjoyable. And I think for the price itself, I believe I paid $24.99 for it on Switch.
That sounds about right.
And it's about, I think if you were to complete it within a quick time, it would be 14 hours. Like that's a reasonable price.
I was going to say between 14 and 20 hours. Easy.
Yeah.
And two, like, it's funny because like some of the designs on the forum, some of them are really cute and adorable, and then the others, like the mermaid, is terrifying.
Oh, creepy.
It is so creepy.
That's like Ariel gone wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So that when I changed to that form, I was shocked. Like, it didn't scare me or anything. Like, oh my gosh, I'd never want to be the mermaid because she has some great abilities. But I was kind of shocked. Like, oh my gosh, like that's legitimately terrifying compared to all the other designs.
No. Definitely not. Yeah. But yeah, I think I definitely got Zelda vibes from the game, like a Zelda 4.0 or something. Like, there's a lot of progression in the game, a lot of abilities and stuff that I absolutely loved in the game. And I would recommend it to a friend to play if they wanted to try something new, something that I was not overwhelming, because the game to me it's not an overwhelming game. It is a longer game, I believe,
Especially for an indie game.
Yeah, for an indie game, but something that you can feel good playing and get your money's worth out of as well.
And two, what's nice, I mean, I'm not so busy right now, but there were a couple days where I'm like, I was busy, but you can pick it up for 5 minutes if you want to, and still feel like you did something, or you can play for 5 hours and obviously get that same effect.
Yeah, I found myself doing that. It's either, hopefully it doesn't come across as offensive or something to Drinkbox Studios, but it's one of those games where if you want to sit on the toilet and play for 5 minutes, you can. But at night, also before bed, I was finding myself playing it for at least an hour, trying to progress through it, and I loved it. It's a good game.
Absolutely. I think now we can get to the point where we can score it. Personally, I give it probably a solid 8 out of 10. The writing's good. The art is fantastic, and the forms are all entertaining. I love them all. I never felt like there was a weak form in the mix. Sorry. I never felt like there was a weak form in the mix that you filmed. I felt like each one had its own love that was catered to it by the developers. I thought the music was really great, especially having like a 16-bit type of sound to it. They were pretty catchy. It is a little bit on the harder side, so if you're looking for a challenge, this is definitely for you. If you're looking to get through something in just a few hours, this probably isn't for you, but that's not a negative for me, but I'm just letting people know. Yeah.
I was thinking about 8 to an 8.5 for the game. It delivers. It's reasonably priced, and the artwork in it is really good. It's beautiful. It's vibrant, full of color, and although the humor is dry and sarcasm is definitely in it, I appreciate that in the game. There's not really a dull moment in this game, and I think I'll go with you, an 8. An 8 is definitely a good number for this game, and I highly recommend it. It's a good game, and it can be picked up on all platforms, even last generation platforms. It's on the not Series X, it's on the Xbox One and PS4.
There you have it. No excuse to, at the very least, not check it out, especially have Game Pass. At the very least, if you have Game Pass, I would at least download it and see what you think for a few minutes.
Oh, it's got online co-op too, which we did not try.
We did not try.
We should have definitely tried that, but that is there. So if you have a friend you want to play with, that is available.
Some caveats with online co-op that I did find out, though. It is not cross-platform. However, if you have a PS4 and someone's on PS5, that works. Or if you're someone on Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PC.
Cross-generational.
Yeah, it's cross-generational, but it's not like cross-platform.
Okay.
I like that. Cross-generational. Cool. I like that.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Well, we're going to take a quick, small break, let some ads play for you while we kind of collect ourselves and get ready for the news.
There you go.
And we are back. We are live and we are in business. I hope you enjoyed those short ads. Kyle, something crazy happened while we were a little on hiatus. I'll call it a hiatus.
Oh, dude.
One of our past guests was helping create something called the Playdate. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns about the Playdate, you can always refer back to our interview we did with, and I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, Kyle.
Nevin Morgan.
Nevin Morgan. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry, Nevin, for forgetting the name. The Playdate was released. I don't have one on me, but I have seen people talk about it. I've seen people play it. It seems like it has been an insane, huge hit on social media, because it was trending on my Twitter for a while. For those that are wondering what the Playdate is, it's basically think of the original Game Boy, and it's got kind of like a crank shaft to it to help power it, and it's got a very basic display. It's black and white. They open it up to indie developers to put games on there, and good Lord, that little thing is, I don't know how to describe it. It's about $200.
Yeah, it's unique, very unique.
Yes, it is. I love the idea behind it, the concept behind it. But the problem is getting a hold of one.
Yeah, they're on. I believe that they are on high demand right now. Yeah, about $200. I believe it's around 179 to pick up one, and I have not gotten one. I believe you have not gotten one either. Because of life, I've not really. I hate to say this, I've not picking up the interest to get one, but I still would like to get one eventually.
Right.
A friend of mine picked one up off eBay.
Ooh, okay.
And last week he said they were going for about $900 to $1,000.
Good God.
Yeah, but since then prices dropped, so he did not pay that much for it.
Okay.
But that just goes to show you like how high of demand these things are going for, and yeah, the crank itself, like you said, powers, but it's also utilized for games on the Playdate also.
That's right.
As a control function. So yeah, it's such a cool idea, especially for indie developers, those that are wanting to get their games out into people that are looking for their games. Because I feel like if you want to pick up a Playdate, you're looking for unique games that are not out to show up on every console, every device. You know, they're unique. They're special games. And the thing that I love about this is, yeah, you pay almost $200 for it, but the Playdate will release 2 titles each week for the next 12 weeks after paying for it without being charged for that. So you're getting games for free on this console. Whereas, you know, previous handhelds, if you were to buy them, you would have to buy the games as well, unless you bought a bundle package or something.
Which is brilliant marketing. Not only are you getting the console into people's hands, you're giving them an opportunity to play more games and get exposure to not only just your product, but also new games, new developers, and hopefully someone connects and falls in love with it just as much.
Yeah, very much so. And I was actually comparing prices previously for other handhelds. I don't know if you saw this, but so like the Game Boy Color, going way back in time, Game Boy Color released at $70, $69.99. Not a bad price at all, but also back in that time, that might have been a higher price. Nintendo DS was $149.99.
Yeah, it was. I remember.
That's pricey.
That's getting up there.
That's pricey for it. And then the 3DS was $249.99.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I was in college when the 3DS came out, and somehow a broke college kid like me was able to go out and get a 3DS. That's expensive.
It was worth playing Ocarina of Time on it for the 3DS, but yeah, that's so pricey. And then now, you know, you think about paying $249.99 for the 3DS, and the functionality of it is fantastic, but you're not getting games with it. Whereas with this, you are getting games. If you've looked at the list of games for the Playdate, a lot of them look really cool and super unique. And I love that they're doing 2 games a week, so that gives you time to play through them and not be bombarded with games. You know, you can sit there and play. All right, so you pick it up from release date, you play through them 2 a week. You're able to decipher whether or not, oh, do I like this, or should I move on to the next game? And then, hey, a week from now, I've got more games I can play. And then it allows you to narrow down on the games that you actually want to spend time with and actually dig your claws into.
And I know at the time when we had the interview with Mr. Morgan, he talked about being able to work with the creator of one of my favorite games, Katamari Damacy, and he's got a game on there as well. And so, I mean, there's some big names that are also creating things for the Playdate. So even if you don't think you're going to like something, there's going to be some big names attached to it as well that you know, maybe you want to check out.
Yeah, totally. So I don't see myself getting this anytime soon. I would love to get my own, you know, device, my own Playdate, but pre-order dates have gone back to 2023, so I don't have $1,000 to drop. I know my wife would not appreciate if I dropped $1,000 on this right now.
I don't have $1,000 to drop on this right now. And I'm a single dude working full time. I still don't have that much money.
But the fact that pre-orders are going back that far is That's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
that they've got something here. They've got something that people want, and it might have been good. They originally were planning to release in 2020. That could have dropped the system. With the pandemic going on,
Mm-hmm.
for them to hold out till 2022 when things are starting to lighten up,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully, companies are starting to do better, and
Yeah.
financially, this might have been the perfect time to release the Playdate, and I'm excited to see it on the market. I love seeing that yellow handheld device on Twitter, wherever I end up
Mm-hmm.
seeing it. It's so cool. It's so unique, and I really hope this is something that paves the way for indie developers and paves the way for handheld consoles.
And I have way more faith in this thing, the Playdate, than I did with something like with Ouya, if those of you who remembered that. It was a disaster. Absolute disaster. This little Android-based console, if for those that remember it, you remember how awful it was. For those that don't, trust me, there's a reason why. You just don't know the name. And Kyle left me, so I don't know if he has anything else to say at the moment. Sorry. But I'm glad that we are kind of back at it. We're going to probably keep it a little shorter, these episodes, roughly 30-ish minutes. I know before we were in the 45 to hour range, but please be patient with us. We're just getting back into the things. We have to, wet our feet a little bit. So that's all I have at the moment. I don't think Kyle has anything. He hasn't said anything to me on Discord yet or anything. If he can hear me, dun dun dun. Like I said, we've got 2 great interviews lined up. I'm doing one tomorrow and one Friday, so that should be fun. If you're fans with us, you should recognize these names because one has been with us. This is his. Oh boy, I think this is number 4 or 5 for him. And the other guest will make the second time with us. So I'm excited to have them back. Keep an eye out. I'm not keeping them a secret or anything, but you will have to pay attention. That's all I'm going to say. Just pay attention. Oh, gotcha. Kyle let me know that his daughter turned off the internet, but I'm going to wrap things up. You guys have a great time. Have a great day. And before I leave, just a small heads up. Our socials, once again, are KK Indie Gaming. Once again, KK Indie Gaming across everything. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. Yeah, we got TikToks now. Kyle's doing a great job with the TikTok side, and we've got ideas on how to handle all the social stuff, and we're excited to get back in this and play some great indie games. If there's, for whatever reason, there is anything you would like us to cover, let us know. And Kyle is back in business. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, hot takes, anything you want us to cover, because we're on Anchor, you can leave us a voicemail. Have you played Nobody Saves the World? Let us know. Is there a game that you played that just you want us to talk about it? Let us know. No matter what, just let us know. That's what we're here for. Not only do we have a voice, we want you to have a voice as well.
And on top of that, if you're listening on Apple iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, please leave us a 5-star review. It helps us out tremendously. More than you can imagine. And if you're watch us on YouTube, leave us a comment, subscribe, and I don't know if you covered that, Karrington. Did you?
I did not. That's great.
Okay.
That's a great reminder. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, my internet got shut off during this. So, yeah. Thank you so much. This has been a blast, and I'm glad that we are back at this.
We are back in business. Let's go.